lovies, and welcome to another edition of A Little Perspective. This is the self-care edition. Last March, we did an in-person event where we had 6 panelists speak on the different areas of wellness, and plan to do it again this year, and obviously that just wasn't going to work. And so we have decided to pull it into A Little Perspective and do it that way. Sharon Garguilo and Jason Lee were both part of the event last year. It was really, really wonderful. The audience was able to ask questions and very interactive. So hopefully next year we'll be able to get back to that format. But for now, we have Sharon and Jason on this week talking to us about yoga and about sound therapy. So I'm really, really excited to have the two of them share their knowledge on those topics with you, to be able to explain how you can invest in your wellness in those areas. So Sharon, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I am, let's see, a nana of 6, and I have six grandsons, and I am newly married as of 6 years ago, and we have a blended family of 6. And, you know, my husband just really shares kind of my whole wellness perspective and life perspective. And so I feel very, very fortunate. I love yoga, obviously. I love sound therapy, obviously. And I feel like these years have just been just really kind of blossoming for me. So that's kind of it. I'm just loving where I am right now.
That's so wonderful. Sharon and I met a few years ago when she asked me to come and visit with her and speak on her Facebook Live program that she does in her Facebook group. So it was a really neat meeting, really great chat, and we've been friends ever since. So it's wonderful, the magic of Facebook. And Jason and I go way, way back. So Jason, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, I'm Jason Lee, native Mississippian. I am trained in massage therapy. I don't practice in Mississippi, but I am trained massage therapist. I'm a licensed nurse, and just as this past year, a certified yoga instructor, and currently studying yoga therapy. And I'm a practicing sound practitioner. I don't like to throw therapist behind there because sometimes people think that denotes a degree, and so sound therapy is so new in this part of the United States. So I say sound practitioner.
I like that. I can see how it is new. It is such a new concept, and it's very woo-woo, as we like to say. But I love it so much. And I love that you are, pioneering it and bringing it to Mississippi, because if nobody does, we'll never have it. So that's excellent.
That's right.
Awesome. So, Sharon, why don't you tell us a little bit about about yoga? Like, what is yoga?
Well, I guess in the 70s, I really kind of sought out yoga. I was really ahead of my time. I couldn't find any information on it. And then in the 80s, I really just kind of dived into it. And, I kind of started and stopped. And anytime I was injured, I would go back to yoga. But I guess yoga found me, and it has just been really a godsend, because there are so many times that I just needed that awareness of what, a teacher had showed me that I could do for stress or just feeling overwhelmed. And, I spent 30 years in California, and that was where I got my first yoga certification. Back in 2007, I believe it was. And I'm now currently doing my 500-hour yoga teacher training. So yoga, it's just so many things. I think today people think of yoga as just, this vinyasa flow that, you're crazy, you're like in a pretzel and you're doing all this stuff at 100 miles an hour. And I'm happy to say that, I got caught up maybe in that a little bit, but I really quickly was brought back to what yoga is, and that's yoking the breath and the movement. That's it. Yoga is yoking the breath and the movement. And I love it. I could go on for hours, but it's had so many benefits to me. And that's why I started my company, SG Wellness, because just by helping people know how to breathe from the diaphragm, like we only breathe at 25% of our lung capacity. 75% of people only breathe at 25% of your lung capacity. So all of that is left untapped. And I found it so interesting just with Jason last year with the sound. I think I mentioned to him that the sound therapy, I never even knew anybody in Mississippi like did that, because the singing bowls and I was close to San Francisco, so I could drive in and pretty much have, whatever modality of yoga I wanted. And, it's just it's a different thing here. And so it's really fun to, through you, Angela, meet all these other wellness entrepreneurs and just have all this amazing stuff available to us.
Yeah, it is. It's great. I love having cool friends, so it's awesome. Jason, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what is sound therapy? What does that mean?
Yeah, sound therapy, well, you have, there's so many modalities of sound therapy. And of course, you have music therapy, which, music therapists are certified and go to college, they're trained musically. I'm not trained musically at all. And I tell my clients, this is not about music. I mean, there's a little bit of music, of course, with the notes and the tones and everything, but I don't have a musical bone in my body. And I tell them that. I was like, so don't be afraid of this. And it's basically using different tools. Like I have crystal bowls, which resonate. I always use the wine glass analogy. If you do the wine glasses, they make different tones and different vibrations, but the bowls are on a much larger scale. And what they do, the vibrations and the frequencies affect our left and our right brain. So it causes your left brain and your right brain to sync up together to kind of figure out what's going on here. What's this sound that we're hearing, which when that happens allows your parasympathetic nervous system to kick in. And that's what is responsible for fight or flight. So when we're going through our day, bombarded with stress and work and family and just everything that we have to do on a regular basis, we don't get that time for our body to really stop. And, other than when we're sleeping, and sometimes it doesn't even happen then,
Mm-hmm.
So the tones, they're called binaural tones. They allow your parasympathetic nervous system to kick in, and really it decreases your breath rate. It lowers your blood pressure, and allows you to really have a moment for your body to just truly relax and let go. It is basically, it's a form of meditation. It gives your mind something to focus on. So people have a hard time meditating because they they think I'm not supposed to have thoughts during meditation. So people who have a hard time meditating really find this practice or this type of modality help them even in meditation, because it gives your mind something to focus on without thoughts. So it's the sound, but it's not thoughts. So it's really just a time for your body to totally just relax and let go.
And what do you use when you do your sound therapy?
So I've got a a set of 7 bowls. They're all different sizes and different depths, and they all create a different note. This is where some music comes in. So A, C, D, E, F, G, A, B note, and then the vibration. They all have a different frequency. So you have different vibrations going on at the same time. So it's kind of like having a massage, for a vibrational massage, because your brain is actually, your ears are being massaged, and your brain's, I call it a brain massage sometimes. So there's the bowls. I have a gong, which is a lower tone, chimes. I've got a drum, but I don't use the drum very much in a sound bath setting because it tends to be more energizing. So I use that for other stuff. Bells, just different types of instruments.
It's so neat. And it's really, you explained wonderfully what it is, but you really can't grasp it and understand it until until you're doing it. So Sharon, tell us a little bit about SG Wellness and what it is that you do.
Well, so pretty much it's just, helping people at, all different levels of people, whether they're just looking to just mentally like de-stress a little bit, just to, show them. I find it interesting with Jason's, with the sound therapy, because I had a really hard time meditating. And so it was that sound therapy that a yoga teacher had told me, gave me permission to. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be sitting in lotus and just being completely quiet. You can use music and candles. And so with other people, I've had, right now I'm mentoring 2 moms that have just given birth. And it's really important, I think, for moms, especially because you kind of feel a little bit isolated, and especially right now, where we're at. So I just kind of help them with dealing with, what they're dealing with is normal. And it's not like, they're not crazy, they feel so stressed and overwhelmed, and, they think they don't, they sometimes don't like their screaming kid. And so I just help them with, breathing, just, take the breath, and go with the baby crying. So just really helping them to have something to focus on. And it's more the it's kind of more the mindset with yoga. It's the movement too, but when you can have the mindset that you can take that breath anywhere and calm yourself down, to me, that is the ultimate. That is what, when I created SG Wellness, I'm like, I want you to get that part of the breath and being able to calm yourself, instead of just thinking it's all, has to be, moving, all of that. So I think that's, I just saw a need for so many people to, just have help with, like, where do I start? And, you start where you're at. And for some people, it's, I taught somebody in a wheelchair yoga before. And to me, that is just, it's so awesome, because, I'm never a yoga teacher that's like a cookie cutter. It's always what that person needs. So that's what it means to me, or that's what SG Wellness is.
So what does self-care look like for you, for your day today? What are some of your practices for self-care?
Are you talking to me or Jason? Me?
Sorry, you. Yes, Jason.
First thing in the morning, like I have it, like, it's worked for me for not 100 years, but for a very long time, that I have my coffee in bed, and then I just allow myself 5 minutes to just, to meditate, but to meditate with just a soft gaze before I even get out of bed. And sometimes I'll have a journal, by my bed, just something that I scribbled down. Just like I never overwhelm myself. It's just three things a day. I do it consistently every day, 5 minutes, like no matter what. If there's somebody like a fire truck at my door, I don't care. I'm having my coffee and I'm writing down. I know sometimes that's happened. It's similar, but for me, just allowing myself that time, because if I get up and I just start doing things, and it's hard to reset and go back. So self-care for me is allowing myself, giving myself permission to have that first 5 minutes of the day for me, and to kind of get my mindset in the, you know, what I want to do. And sometimes it could just be a word like, you know, maybe I want to be, you know, think about being organized a little bit. And then when I write those words down, it's just amazing. I'm sure you've had this, the power of the word. All day long, it'll just be like, man, I'm getting this done. This is happening. So that's self-care to me.
Yeah. Setting that intention can really make all the difference, for sure. For sure. Right, Jason, what is self-care to you? What does that look like for your practice?
Yeah, I think Sharon said it best. It's many different things, but it all boils down to allotting that time, making time for whatever it is. A cup of coffee, if it's laying in the hammock for 30 minutes outside, or taking a walk. It all, to me, boils down to making time for yourself. Sometimes that means saying no to other people. You know, when I talk to people about self-care, like in a yoga class or whatever, before and after a sound bath, whatever, you know, it's, people think that when they think about self-care, a lot of times we've come to see that as expensive spa trips, and, you know, expensive vacations and whatever you're saying on Instagram at the moment, whatever the influence there. Not to knock that, but it really, to me, is about just making time for yourself. Just having to stop, finding your breath. I mean, I do a lot of times driving down the road, I realize I'm doing some shallow breathing here. So I just really, as I'm driving down the road, focus on my breath and my inhalations and exhalations, like Sharon said. And sometimes it's just stopping to breathe. But, you know, whatever you do, you have to make the time to do it, whatever your self-care looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, with my clients, I make them put it on the calendar, because, well, for me, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist. But, you know, if you say I'm going to do that this week, but you don't set a time and day, you know, we are all so busy that it'll just get away from you. And then weeks and weeks go by before you finally do it. And it is just setting the intention, being intentional consistently, like not just once a month. Like you deserve more of your own time than that. Yeah. Sharon, so you talked about how there are different types of yoga, and that you personally, you know, don't do the cookie cutter thing. If someone is brand new to yoga, how would you recommend they get started?
I would simply tell them, like, listen, you're exactly where you are supposed to be right now. And we can go, you know, I would really get a feel for, you know, what they want out of it. Because if you know, if someone comes to me and they're brand new and they just say they want to lose 20 pounds, right? Well, that would be totally different than somebody that's just like, I'm stressed, I can't sleep at night. Because with the one that wants to lose 20 pounds, I'll probably kick in a vinyasa flow, and then, you know, to just get them active. And then, but break it down for it. I guess that I would chunk it down where it's like, you know, this week we're going to do this. And then with yoga, it's always practice. It's every day. It's like you practice. You don't ever just like, I've got that, you know, chaturanga dandasana down. I've got that down. And it's like, wow, look at me. It's like, no, that's not so, right? It's like, whoa, look at me. I did that plank and up dog, down dog. So for a newbie, I think just not to overwhelm them and just say, you know, we're going to learn these 5 poses. but starting off to have a real clear picture of what it is they want out of yoga. That would be, how I would say. And I would also tell them, like, listen, everybody is unique and it looks different on every body. So when I show you something, it's going to look totally different how you do it. But I would just assure them too that I'm really big on alignment. I'm Iyengar trained, which just means that I look at your feet, I look at your shoulders, I look at your hips, and my main goal is, to not have you get hurt in my yoga session. So that's what I tell them. You're going to do fine.
And you're not going to be able to be a pretzel right away. So don't let it upset
Maybe
you.
never. Maybe never.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not the goal. Yeah.
And that's good to know too, Jason, because people don't necessarily think they will right away, but they may think that they can eventually get to that. They may think they can eventually get to the splits, but that's not the point.
Yeah. That point.
So, Jason, so we're on the coast, you're in Jackson, and so we don't get to experience your services down here very often. But for those who are new to sound bath,
yes.
How do you recommend they get started?
There are some really well put together recorded sessions. If you go to YouTube, there's some good practitioners, and just kind of, you can start sound bath on YouTube or Google online. It'll pull up a wealth of information. If you want to look for something that's more, I would say, like, if meditation is your goal, I would go directly to binaural beats or binaural tones, which are basically frequencies put together to help your brain get to those thetas, that theta wave state, which meditation usually gets you to. So just go online and look. There's some great recordings out there, and just see what you like best, what fits your personality, your needs. If anybody has questions, they want to email me, I'll be glad to answer any questions. I've had people after sound baths email me about the bowls and what if they want to get one, just for their home practice, what should they start with and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll be glad to answer any questions people want to reach out about the bowls and the instruments and stuff. But just do a little research. Best way to start.
Yeah, I listen to there's a few I listen to on YouTube at night because I like to kind of meditate before I go to sleep, just try to clear. So Jason, for those who are in your area, what services do you offer? I know you're a yoga teacher, and I know you're teaching teachers, so that's fun.
Well, I'm not a yoga teacher. I do a
no, you're teaching. Sorry.
Yeah, I do a yoga class weekly for teachers at the school that I work for, which was, Sharon, it's so funny because they're all like, no, I can't bend like that and I can't do all that. I was like, come on, we're not going to do any bending, I promise. So we started I had to really recruit, you don't have to be flexible. People don't understand. You do not have to be flexible to start. So we started with the yin and restorative type. That's what they love because it's the most relaxing. So we do that once a week. And I do appointments for, I was doing larger sound baths, like group sound baths, but with the COVID and all, we kind of stepped back from that. So I do one-on-one sessions, couples, or do best friend sessions of two group, and then up to a four people small group sessions. So.
And what is the best way for people to reach out to you?
Probably my website. It's heartspaceholistic.health. And all of my information's on the website.
That's awesome. Thank you. And Miss Sharon, for those who want to work with you on breath work and yoga and maybe even some oils, what all do you offer, and how can people get to you?
I do offer, the aroma touch therapy and, yoga one-on-one. And the best way to reach me, because I'm rebuilding my website right now, you can just email me or call me. I'm old school. I like it when you just call me up on the phone and I will help you out. It's like, someone's like, I've been trying to get a hold of you. And I'm like, why didn't you call me? She's like, oh, well, that would be like, no, call me or email me. That's the best. But Angie, I want to tell you one thing. For wellness, to go back to, I learned something very, very important. And that was no is a complete sentence.
Oh, that's
Is
good.
that brilliant? No is a complete sentence. When Jason said that, I was like, yes, when I learned that, I'm like, no, it's a complete sentence. And because I'm a yes person. And for self-care, for me, that just helped so much to say no.
Yeah, you don't owe an explanation. You don't have to, make an excuse. You can just say no. You have every right to. Boundaries are something that are hard for especially women a lot of times to work on, but it's a game changer.
Southern people in general, it's hard. It's like we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and but yeah, just saying no is hard for me to do because I always feel like I have to follow up with an excuse. So I'm still working on that one, Sharon. I mean,
I'll tell you, it was like it took layers off. It was just like, and of course I'm not going to be, rude about it, but it's not, I would please offer it again at some time, but for right now it's not going to work. But and if they're going to understand that, no, can't do it right now, because I think we're such yes people that then we're like, God, I can't believe I said yes when I really wanted to say no. So it's taken me a long time, but I can say the last 5 years, I've mastered it and I love it. So.
Yeah, you're right, Jason. It probably is the Southern thing. Try to be too polite. All right, Jason, did you want to add anything else? Did I forget anything?
I don't think you did. I think you covered it all.
All right. Miss Sharon, did I forget anything else?
Absolutely not. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank y'all so much. This was great information. All of the contact information is going to be in the comments, so feel free to reach out to either of them. They're both amazing people, so do not hesitate. You will be glad that you did. Hopefully next year we can do all this in person and Jason can do a sound bath for us, because that was my favorite part, and the whole day was amazing, but that was the best part. That's it. I love you guys. I hope everyone has an amazing evening.
Thank you. Namaste.